stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You're good. Thanks to everyone who took the time to join us today. The first item on the agenda is the adoption of the agenda. I would like to add a housekeeping item to the agenda. I got some announcements. Put that after the adoption of the agenda. But does anyone have any additions to the agenda? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Motion. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 6-0. All right, so the new agenda, I've got housekeeping. I just want to inform everyone that prior to any public comment period at an in-person meeting, individuals wishing to speak will be required to sign a speaker registration sheet and provide the speaker's name, address, and issue or topic they wish to address. Individuals will be called to speak on in the order in which they sign. Second item I have is, if you are not on the agenda, you do not have the right to speak. If your comments are needed or wanted, you will be permitted to speak at our discretion. And the last housekeeping item. By virtue of her office, Pam acts as the council secretary. While she adds to our discussions and sends information out on our behalf, she is doing so only as our secretary. If there are questions or concerns about something the council or council members have done, such should be directed appropriately to the council, not to Pam. Furthermore, such comments or concerns should be stated with proper etiquette and decorum. All right, moving on to item number 3 now. Approval of minutes from February 25th, 2021 and March 25th, 2021. Those minutes were sent out ahead of time. Does anyone have any corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, the minutes will be approved as presented. Next item on the agenda is comments from the public. We've got no one on the sign-up sheet. So, okay. Move on to the next item. Item number 5 now is transfers. In the Jail Operations Fund, we have a transfer of $6,600 from Meals for Prisoners to maintenance contracts, and that is within the Jail Operations budget. And Alan, what maintenance contract is that?
6,600.
What is it for?
What's that?
That is to the mill prisoner to the maintenance contract. We need, it's going to be zeroed out, if I'm right, and we could not zero that out, so we asked to put that in there to get that caught up for our maintenance contract for the sheriff's office.
For the okay. At this time, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion we accept. I second that.
Any discussion? I've got a motion and a second to approve the transfer. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Easy enough. Yep. Next item on the agenda, additional appropriations. Within the County General Fund, the Perry County Commissioner's budget, $557.55 for Social Security, $801.70 for retirement, and we'll just do those together, because the next one is within the other budget. So that is within the Perry County Commissioner's budget, Social Security and retirement, and this is for our new Assistant Jail Commander. There is Social Security and retirement for that salary.
I make a motion to approve that.
I'll second.
Any discussion? We've got a motion and a second to approve the 2 additionals. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Next additional appropriation is within the Perry County Jail budget, $4,288.23 for the Assistant Jail Commander salary. And this is the portion that we are paying from our fund, with the sheriff paying another portion from his inmate housing fund, I believe.
Yes.
We took both just to get that caught up, so we could do that for these 10 weeks.
Right. Yep. So, does anyone have any questions for the sheriff? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion. Second.
We got a motion and a second to approve the $4,288.23 additional appropriation. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you.
Yep. I'm so glad I don't read off names anymore. Next item is within the Perry County's Parks and Recreation budget. This is $2,000 additional appropriation for park maintenance repair. And Greg, do you want to speak on that a little bit?
Yes. It's actually more than that now. I start off the year with, sorry, is that too loud?
No, you're good.
I start off the year with $3,000. I've had paint and drywall work up at Eagles Bluff on the ceiling. That was $1,400. I had to have a tree removed that had fallen over onto another tree, and it was leaning over top of the glass fence up at the overlook. So I had to have that taken out. That was $600. And then at the Wilkerson Park at Rome, when the flooding, the recent flooding that we had, it got over top of the toilets there and flooded the vaults. So that had to be pumped. That took me down to about $2,500 right there. When I had the paint and drywall work done at Eagles Bluff, outside the entrance door you have a drywall area for the ceiling. And then in the back of the building where the air conditioning heating unit sits, there's drywall back there too. And the people that came in and gave me the estimates for doing all of that, all of them told me I should just put the outside areas in vinyl. So when I had the drywall and painting done, I had them just leave that off, and I told them we'd take care of that ourselves. So I'm guessing, based off of what their estimates were showing to do the work themselves, $800 for the soffit material to cover those two areas. Also at Wilkerson Park, the playground, the floodwaters took the mulch out of the playground. I started looking at the framing around there, and all of that's starting to deteriorate. It's 6x6 post. I did find some old records yesterday looking for stuff on this that it looks like that was put in 2012. The post, when I looked at replacing those posts, that was $920. The estimate I got for putting mulch back in there was $330. Out at Magnet at Riverside Park, there's some erosion control that needs to be done there. The last two big floods that we had, the water has gotten up at the edge of the parking lot, and there's these great big rocks, I guess, that was put in place that when they built the park. That has dropped down now probably about 8-9 inches, where the water it just got high enough where it just kept rubbing against the grassy area and stuff. So I need to put some riprap and stuff in there. There's a creek ditch area that you have to cross over to get up to the shelter house, and that is a low-lying area that when the floodwaters get up, it just eats on that too. At one time, I think it was probably had rock in it, but it's gone now, and that needs to be put back. At Eagles Bluff, erosion control up there. The road that goes up to the park, a couple years ago, we had money left over. We bought a bunch of rock, started putting it up and down through there. We ran out of money, didn't get a chance to finish it, and I'd like to get that finished too, because I don't think that rock has ever been replaced since that park was put in. And then for operating expenses for the rest of the year, I've got about $300-400 in there now. That's not going to last. So I'm going to need a little bit of money for the rest of the year. So when I totaled up what I thought I was going to need for all of this to get it done, it's $5,350.
Luke, could I make a comment?
Yeah.
Greg and I spoke just a little while ago, and Randy was involved in the conversation about contacting Steve Howe. I spoke with him today about the rock, that the county gets a special price, and I asked Greg if, as far as the rock is concerned, that he get with Steve Howe on there, and I'd like to make a motion that we approve $1,000 tonight, and then once he gets the rest of this, to come back with the total amount.
Does that suit you?
Sure.
Does anyone have any other questions for Greg? So I've got a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
So I've got a motion and a second to approve an additional appropriation of $1,000. If there's no other discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 6-0.
What about the rest of this?
That will come in on your next. when
So
you
you
come
need to
back,
supply me another
then you
additional
you can
appropriation
give us
letter for
that
May.
amount, and then we'll
Okay.
do all that.
So I gotta come back? For,
Sorry.
You can just write a letter or something.
Yeah, you can write a letter. We-
Just-
you don't
Okay.
have to be here.
Good.
You've told us what you need it for,
okay,
okay?
Just a little paragraph or sentence or something.
thank you all.
Yeah, thanks, Greg.
Greg, I have one comment. The sign looks really good now that goes up to Eagles Bluff.
Well,
They
I would-
cut everything behind it and you
I
can
would like to
really
take
see
credit
it.
for that, but I'm not sure who did that.
Oh, okay. It
But they
looks
did a really good job.
Yeah.
They did, didn't they? Thank you.
Uh-huh.
All right, next on the agenda is within the LIT Special Legislation Fund, Perry County Detention Center budget, $47,685 for security system updates.
As you know, we've always dealt with Stanley since the jail was built years ago. I think it's been 8 years now. But, so they came to us with some problems that we were having with our security and our cameras that are in the jail that also feed to the courthouse. So I got with him and had him explain to us what exactly we're going to have to do. So basically what it says is these are at their end of life, and if anything else, it does go bad. And these have been in there for 8 years. So this is asking for that money of the special legislation. You want to explain that a little bit?
I can. They will be.
Please.
Sure, yeah.
I'll let you talk.
Basically, the risk that you have is since it's an end of life, you can't get parts for it anymore. And if it actually goes down and they have to put a new system in, then you're talking maybe over a week for them to actually be able to put that system back in, because it's not just a simple swap the board out and go. They can't do that anymore. A lot of that stuff that they did in the past to keep it running and make it run, it's not going to happen anymore. And what happens is these systems, when you put them in, they have it's not like a computer where you actually put in a hard drive and upgrade to Windows 10 or whatever. It runs off firmware. And once that board is out, it's out. So you're done. You find that with door systems, camera systems, all those systems that are going to be security based. And they do that because it's more secure to do it with firmware than it is with software too. So that's the whole purpose of it, and that's what's going on.
Greg,
Yeah.
is this going to be like every 8-year process that we'll probably run into this problem?
Most MDR systems like that, you're going to see a span of anywhere from 6 to 10 years. And I hate to give you that lower number, but it's at least a truthful number. It just depends. And the quality that they put in here, usually you're going to hit that middle range. So you're probably in that 8 range.
Okay.
Yeah,
That we
it's
know
not
for the
something
future.
that's going to last decades.
Right.
If you last 10 years, you're doing great. So.
And Rod will tell you how important this is to receive and receive some of these videos that we get and we record in there. So that kind of stuff we have to have. So
And the good thing is the wiring and stuff doesn't have to change at this
Yes.
point either. It's just the components.
It says in that material that they now require a service maintenance agreement. That it expired in August 2nd, 2017, but now they,
yes, they went ahead and
okay,
accepted that.
okay,
I just talked to him yesterday at the conference.
okay. Anyone have any other questions for the sheriff? If not, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Uh-oh. Who wants it?
It's okay.
We'll give it to her. I got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion amongst council members? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0. Next item on the agenda is within the Vehicle Inspection Fund in the Perry County Sheriff budget, $1,515 for equipment and maintenance for police cars.
I've been up here a lot, sorry. So basically, this is for the rest of the cars that we've purchased out of the inmate housing. But we needed that to get it all caught up, to get it all paid for, the $1,515.
Anyone have any other questions for the sheriff? If not, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
I got a motion and a second on the $1,515 additional appropriation. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 6-0. And the inmate housing fund. Perry County Detention Center budget. $3,000 for the assistant jail commander salary. I got this one.
Okay, good.
This is their half of the new assistant jail commander salary. We paid for something, they put in $3,000 to help us make this work. So, I entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Uh-oh.
You can go first. I'll go second.
Do you have a second?
Charlie did.
Okay, all right. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes 6-0 for the additional appropriation.
Excuse me, Luke, could I stop you for a moment? I invited Rachel to stop in. She has an announcement. Could you go ahead and let her do that?
Sure.
Sorry. I just wanted to just inform you guys, we finally we're able to make a decision on who we were hiring for our office. So I wanted to thank you guys for allowing us to get that full-time person. And it took a little bit, several applicants, few interviews here and there. Some come back for second interviews, but we finally found somebody. So I just wanted to let you guys know, and she will start May 1st is a Saturday? I think it's the 3rd, May 3rd, that Monday. It's her first official day, so just wanted to let you guys know that.
Awesome.
So, that was it. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay. Next item on the agenda is the employees working on vaccine clinic days. So I had asked Pam to send out a memo stating that the health department are the only employees who are currently eligible for overtime, and so that anyone else working the clinic would not receive that compensation like they do. That's all that was meant to say, because we were considering in this budget with the new grant we got allowing for taking overtime or taking comp time and salary out of this budget. So I had reached out to Wagner, what is their name? Wagner Irwin Shealy, which is the people who put together our personnel policy handbook, because I was kind of confused if employees who aren't performing assigned job duties as stated in their job description, are they eligible for comp time? And if they're not doing their assigned job duties during the vaccine clinic, how do we pay their salary, basically? And so they sent back and saying that the first thing that we need to establish is if the employees are working or volunteering. And so I've kind of been under the impression that they are volunteering. But there's just kind of some confusion. I'm kind of confused. I've heard that they're volunteering, but then we're also paying them. But they say, according to Wagner Irwin Shield, that they can only be paid past if they're doing the same job duties at the clinic that they're doing at their normal job. And they can't be paid, they'd have to be paid out of a budget line that says vaccine clinic, and then they can earn comp time, because they're being paid from a fund that says this is how their salary is paid. And then I also asked about, well, then she just went on about that they need to be performing the same job duties at their normal working hours at the vaccine clinic, and then they could be eligible for overtime or for comp time. So that's kind of where I'm just trying to get some clear information about this, because we're having them volunteer, but then they're not doing the same job duties that they do during their normal hours. So how can they be eligible for comp time? But I know, like, some employees, what they're doing at the job, it says that they work during emergencies. So yes, they are eligible for comp time because it's in their job description, so they would be eligible to receive that. But some employees, we have to figure out what people are doing at the vaccine clinic and what they're doing compared to what they do during their normal hours to see if they're eligible for comp time or not. So with that being said, but now we have this grant, so now we need to figure out, do we want to pull their salary, put money in the grant, in the budget, or in the grant budget, and pay them out of the grant budget, so then they would be eligible, we can pay them for comp time because they'd be being paid from a vaccine clinic budget. So it's very confusing, but I'm just trying to clear this up, because I've been confused about it. Does anyone have, I mean, we're going to talk about the grant budget in a little bit, but does anyone else have any questions or comments on this?
Are they volunteering?
Sure, yeah.
think the easiest way to explain it is, look at Teresa. We call them volunteers because it's not the same 5 girls it's not us.
Right.
But are they volunteering their time? I mean, I think you could look at it either way, but it comes down to whatever you want to call it, that we cannot function without them.
Right.
Period.
Right. Right.
So I think you have to decide whatever you want to label it as.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what,
Another thing, with the pandemic, under a
Emergency.
emergency, wouldn't some of that not?
well, it's like, with, like, I asked
State of
Steve.
emergency, that's
Yeah,
all.
I asked Steve if we're still in an emergency, and like, I know for like, people who work in the EMA, they could work the vaccine clinic and be paid comp time no problem because they're performing the same job duties as they would during a normal day, basically. And we're under that emergency. But our personnel policy people will say that you have, yeah,
Look under this declaration, we can use any county employee wherever it's under the emergency management ordinance. We haven't went to that level yet, but it could be. We can move employees around and pull from other offices to take care of this emergency that we are currently under. That is under the emergency management ordinance.
okay. All right, because that kind of makes, yeah, okay. Because I'm just confused because I've heard we're volunteering and then we're not, and then now they're eligible for comp time, but, so I'm just trying to like I was just trying to get information to clear that up because I was personally confused. So I reached out to our labor people. So,
I think,
Sure.
I think the word volunteering is a nicety. So when we say Teresa is volunteering, she's working.
right,
And she's doing the bidding of what the commissioners want her to do, which is
That's
kind of what
the
she's supposed to
assigned-
do,
that's her
right?
assigned
But in the other sense of that is that we say volunteering because we're not going to force her to take that risk. So in that sense, she is volunteering, and since she says, yeah, I will do that work.
But Greg, also,
But
when you use that
if-
term volunteering, people think it's non-paid because you have other.
I understand
volunteers.
the terminology, but all I'm saying is it was a nicety. And if that nicety needs to go away, it's very easy for me to say Teresa is working.
right. And I think
Right.
that's kind of
That's
what,
fine.
Very easy.
Yeah, that-
I say it as a nicety.
Because
It
you
is
have
not
other
a
people out
confirmation
there
of
that are
what
giving
type
their
of work
time,
she's
correct?
doing.
Tara,
Yeah.
are there people that are volunteering for no pay?
yeah, like community
Yes.
members. Yeah.
Okay.
Community members, retired nurses.
But at
Yeah.
no point has Teresa came to me and said, I need vacation. Because she comes to me and says she needs vacation so she can volunteer. She's truly volunteering. But she's going to work, is what she's doing. Has she
Right.
ever called me and said, hey, it's Thursday, I need a vacation day because I'm volunteering? No.
Right.
She's working.
Well, this was just trying to clear up who's eligible for
But there
comp
shouldn't be a
time.
lot of confusion in that. But those county workers are still going to work. None of them have taken vacation days to do this.
Right.
If they took vacation days to do this, then it's truly volunteering. But they have not. Okay?
Right, it's just.
I want to make that very clear.
Luke,
Yeah,
can I say something?
sure.
About a month ago, I suggested all of you go out there and just take a walkthrough
Yep.
on clinic day, and I hope you got the chance to do that. And you can kind of see firsthand what is really going on there and amount of people that they need outside the nurses that actually giving the vaccine itself, just to make that thing operate. There's a lot of information coming down when people comes in that I would rather see a county employee taking that information, which Teresa is one of them, at the computers, because we know she's going to be there from 8 till the end. When you take a true volunteer, like Charlie just said, they could come in at 8, but they could leave at noon.
Right.
And that's fine.
Right.
But when
not sure
those
of that.
nurses are dependent on somebody to keep that flow going, that's where we need our employees
Right.
to get through this. It's not a long time thing. You know, it could be the rest of the year, but it's not a 5 or 10 year deal. We just need to get through this.
Right,
And
and
we'll get through it, and they're doing a fantastic job. It's working really well.
right.
I've been
That's-
out there a couple times, and it is working really well. We need to keep our employees going out there, because they cannot do it on their own.
Right. No one's saying that we don't want
But-
employees to not go out there. We're just I was just trying to get clarification on the whole comp time ordeal. Are they doing the same job duties that they would be during a normal day? That's the way basically what I'm asking.
In my opinion on that, Luke, I don't think it really matters. We're in a
Well,
state of emergency.
You know, our,
Let's get the job
our personnel
done and
policy
get it
handbook
over.
says something else. So that's
So
why.
That's my opinion as commissioner.
Okay.
So-
Well, yeah. Yeah.
first of all, everybody's trying to do the right thing, and I
Right.
understand that. And that needs to be said, let's talk. Nobody's going to do the wrong thing. Right now, the good news is that department heads are willing, and there's only 2 department heads.
Right.
Are willing to give the task to their 2 people involved too.
Right.
They're able to do their duty and do this and keeping the clinic going, and they're viable people. And there is no, the comp time can't exceed current policy.
Right.
And we have no intention this time to ask or try to extend that like we did for the health department, because we really don't see a need for it. I mean, it's budgeted, budgeted salaries.
Right.
And take, for instance, like Teresa, Teresa won't be here.
So sorry we're picking on you, Teresa.
But she also does the other duties that have nothing to do it while she's there. I mean, she checks emails
Right.
and checks messages, and Darlene the same way. Now, I don't know what Darlene does all day on a normal day. Her board knows,
Right.
and her
Yeah.
board is in agreement. But she needs to do her soil water conservation, that she won't short that.
Right.
And that's what we were talking about. And like Steve said, in the state of emergency, I mean, we could pull employees from any county employee to assist in that, but we're fortunate we don't have to. That it's working good. So that's why I feel that things are going good.
Right.
And the comp time is not going to get out of hand.
Right.
And there will be no need to pay extra overtime that's not budgeted. Now, how it shows up and it could reimburse the county through this grant, that would be great. I
Right.
mean, it's actually reimbursing money that's already budgeted, so I think that should help. So
Yep.
anyway, that's my take on it.
Okay, thank you. Like I said, I sent out that memo, so I'm just trying to clarify, but it's not as cut and dry as, according to our personnel policy consultants, it's a little bit not as clear. So I just wanted to bring that up really quick. Or not so quickly, I guess. Next item on the agenda, if no one has any other thing to say, amendments to the salary ordinance. Pam, can you kind of
Yeah.
take hold of this one?
Yeah, these are some amendments of some of the positions that you have allowed throughout the year, and with my payroll deputy, we have just kind of, these have kind of slipped through the cracks, so we really need to get these amendments as far as like the jail commander's position that you just did,
Right.
the deputies with the COPS grant, the overtime wages that we've been paying out. They're just some more or less cleanup stuff that we need to get done. And it just needs an approval, there's no signature on those.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions for Pam about these? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the amendments to the salary ordinance.
I'll make a motion to approve those.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second on approving the amendments to the salary ordinance. If there's no discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Okay. Next on the agenda is the budget for the immunization, or vaccine clinic grant. Pam and I have been working on this grant budget. The health department has been helping us with some supplies. So that was presented, it was in your packet, I believe. So our preliminary budget we're looking at is $4,320 for sharps disposal, $10,000 in overtime, $822.50 in Social Security, $1,177.50 in retirement, $3,000 for cleaning, $1,000 for meals, $10,000 for employee salaries, $822.50 for Social Security, and $1,177.50 for retirement. So since we're administering this technically together, I just wanted everyone to be aware of that budget. Does anyone have any questions about it?
And we have about 8,000.
Yes, and we still have some money left over, so we might, if we come across anything else that needs thrown in there, we can, I think we'll have room to work with it. Okay, that's all that was, that's kind of information. Next item on the agenda is the ARP committee discussion. The commissioners at their last meeting, or maybe our last meeting, I don't know, talked about us kind of having a discussion on what we want the committee to be like, or to look like. So does anyone have any comments on that, what they would imagine the committee makeup being like, or?
Well, we discussed the number, and there's been a lot of numbers. I still think 7 is the appropriate number for that. And I would like, and I don't know, if the makeup could be 2 commissioners, 2 council, and then the decision of the other 3. If we want department heads or how, work with the commissioners to decide. On those other 3, what are your suggestions?
Well, one thing Pam mentioned about, will she be involved in it?
I think she should sit on it for sure.
Well, I think it's a public meeting, she's gonna be present
Yeah,
anyway.
right, yeah.
She really wouldn't be a committee person.
Huh?
She really wouldn't be a committee person, would she?
Just kind of
Is there
our
a
secretary.
reason to? I mean, she's gonna be there anyway,
Yeah.
so maybe that would leave another slot.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not asking to be on, just so that way I know what's coming through the office to pay, and that way, as the invoices come in, so we know what's, whenever they're
And I-
running through.
And I think being public meetings, that's a given.
Right, she's gonna be
you're
there.
the-
Yeah.
A lot of these projects are handled, if you look at the way a lot of these projects are structured, it's formed off of what's called RACI. And RACI is R is for responsible, which will eventually fall to the commissioners because we do have to approve the plan eventually. But we're obviously going to do that under the consult of the committee, okay? So, and then the second one is A, which is basically authorizes. So basically when you're doing that, what you're actually doing as an authorizer is you're the ones creating the plan. So that's your 7. And then there's C, which is consultants. And there's going to be a crud load of those. Because you're going to have somebody from the REC, the PCBC. Probably want somebody from one of the departments. And they don't have to be there every time, but you pull them in when you need them to. And then the other one's informed. And that one's like Pam or anybody else. That you keep informed on what's going on because they need to know so they can keep them. So to me, the 7 is really easy. And the consult, that's whoever we need to actually consult on it. And that's going to be a large group of people, including the public itself.
Right.
So to me, the 3 that you want on that committee besides us, I think you need to have a strong business set of people on there. If it was me, I would have somebody that was in business and retired, maybe someone that is in business currently, and then whatever the 7th one you would put in there. But I would actually have at least 2 people that are, one's retired, one's currently in business. Because you want that small business factor in there, right?
Right.
And are we all in agreement that that is a big component of this that we want to keep in there? Then we need someone on that board for that. So there's 2 spots. The last one, pick whoever the heck you want. I don't have a choice. Sorry, I know that was a lot.
But, and I agree with what Greg's saying, I mean, makes a lot of sense. The only thing, they said magic number 7, it's going to be more of a panel than a committee, because we're going to have public input.
Right.
So, whether we have 7, 8, or 9, or, as long as it don't be 15, then with it being a public meeting and in a panel discussion, but the decision has to be made. The way I understand is the commissioners will say we want to do this, and then the council will approve the funding.
Right.
I mean that's
Yep.
So hopefully if you had 7, or if you had 8, or if you had 9, that there could be a consensus within that committee.
And
That's why I don't believe that the number being odd is as important.
Because it's not really a voting body.
Yeah.
The voting body is going to be the 3 of us and then the 7 of you.
That's the way I see it. I mean,
We're going to be responsible for the plan, and then when we present the plan, it's going to be up to you to approve the budgeting part of it. So I mean that's to me is that voting section. So if you want to have 8 or 6 or whatever, I agree, but It doesn't have to be an odd number.
So, and I'll speak for myself, I can't speak for the two commissioners, but I think we're gonna be on the same page, so if somebody has to start it. If you wanna make some start tonight, I don't see why we couldn't. We will have to discuss it and
Right.
vote on it.
Yep.
So, but somebody has to make the first move. Do you want us to do it, or you do it, or?
Are you all right with the 2, 2, and 2? 2 business? 2 from the public, business-wise, maybe 1 retired from business or whatever?
Or do you want the council to have their own?
No, I don't think we need to have our own, but I just think the council wants, just some input. So
Absolutely.
however that
Yeah.
needs to happen.
Well, I
That's
think
2 of us,
We'll have 2 on the council on that for sure, right?
Yeah.
And when we appoint those other 2, I think you should be part of that, who those appointees are. So I think once we decide who the 2 council people are and the 2 commissioners are,
Then-
let them appoint the other 2 positions or 3 positions, whatever we decide on the number, right?
I'm fine with
That's
that.
fine with me.
Have the council appoint their 2 positions, and then have the commissioners put 2 people on, hopefully that they'll complement each other.
Yeah.
So.
It'll be
That's-
6,
Yeah.
6 total.
Oh, I thought he said.
Six.
Well, I was thinking 8. but-
8.
So I would like, sorry, go ahead.
2 council, 2 commissioners, and then 2 people by the council, and then 2
I agree.
people by
I
the
think that's good.
commission.
Oh, that's fine.
That's just a thought.
I think
I'm
that's-
fine.
I think that's great.
That works fine.
So if I would entertain a motion to, well, first of all, I would like to serve on this committee. Anyone else want to jump out of their chair?
I would.
You would? All right, anyone else? Hopefully not, because then we only have 2. So at this point, I would entertain a motion from the council to appoint myself and Charlie to said panel, committee, whatever you want to call it. So would anyone like? or
I'll make that motion that you and Charlie are representatives.
I'll second that.
They are.
Is there any discussion amongst the council? I mean, obviously the full council will be involved in this, but let's
Right.
have our 2 seats. You good, Earl?
Mhm.
Okay.
I'm good.
So all those in favor, we got the motion, the second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
And I think we took the long way around to just say what we said at the last meeting, actually.
It's taken 3 or 4 meetings now.
It's being discussed
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
let's-
But at least we're all good.
So, all right.
And question for the commissioners. When is the ordinance? I know you guys are working on that.
Well, the
Do you see
ordinance,
that in
the
near
ordinance-
future?
the ordinance is, I think, going to be on our May 3rd. It's a very simple ordinance.
Right.
It's
It's on
really
the agenda.
cookie cutter, and all it does is it names the name of the plan, and that's it.
Okay.
I mean, it basically establishes the fund for the
Yeah.
money to go.
What
with.
else
Right,
you gonna
and
say,
whatever-
really?
Yeah, whatever.
Doesn't
Pam-
say hardly anything.
Whatever Pam's got to do.
She has to assign a fund number.
Dunn's number and
Yeah.
Sam's and all that stuff, she does all that stuff.
That
She's-
stuff's
You
already done.
know.
Yeah, the Duns and Sam's is actually caught up for the grant, which I replied to somebody that asked about that. I think it was you, David.
Yep.
And actually, our Sam's and Dunn's number is good until November of '21.
Yeah.
And then I have to reapply again.
So, I mean, she's got that part of it. And our side of it, like I said, the ordinance is, it's really
Right.
fall off the log, cookie cutter, boilerplate.
Yeah.
Right, so it'll be very generic.
Yeah. All right, does anyone have any other discussions on this committee or sorts? Okay, so we would just need to, all of us need to be thinking about who we would want to appoint, from the public, so just kind of be thinking about that. All right, that is the end of our agenda, so I would entertain a motion.
Do we need a resolution that the council makes and then the commissioners agree to it too? Ron?
Well, I mean, it's kind of an informal committee, so I don't think we need anything official.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so.
And if we do, then we can go.
The May 3rd, we could,
Right.
we know what you want.
Yeah, I don't think it needs to be anything that official. If we're all just if we have a motion and we're gonna have this public discussion, I think we're good. Yeah, I agree. All right, any other business on this? I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved, that's a new one. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor of adjourning signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 6-0. Thank you everyone for attending.
What was the resolution?
Uh,
Yes.